I'm here at Burnley College. I came last year and it's a very uplifting place to be, talking to students. And today, amongst the discussions, was antisocial behaviour. And that comes up all the time. And the government sometimes likes to pretend that it doesn't really exist or it doesn't really impact on people. I profoundly disagree, and that was true this morning in the discussions we had. It has a huge impact on people. And that's why what we say is if we were to come into government, we would put 13,000 new neighbourhood police into areas, neighbourhood police, so they know their patch, they can deal with preventative stuff, but also enforcement, and also introduce respect orders, so where there is antisocial behaviour, action can be taken, effective action. So when the government says antisocial behaviour isn't really, low level, it isn't very high level stuff, it's low level stuff, I completely disagree with that.
The government has so launched its own initiatives for antisocial behaviour, including getting residents and victims to perhaps decide on the punishments. So they are saying that they're acting strong on this.
Well, I think talk to people anywhere, Burnley or anywhere across the country, and they would say after 13 years, we're in a position where antisocial behaviour still hasn't been dealt with. They're pretty fed up with the government, and they don't think that the measures the government's put in place are making any difference. And I think the government should come out more and talk to people in their neighbourhoods, in their streets, and see just the level of antisocial behaviour. We do need more neighbourhood police officers. Everybody knows they're the officers that know their patch, know their communities, deal with a lot of the preventative work, because anything that can be done to prevent antisocial behaviour is a good thing. But then when we need enforcement, proper enforcement powers. And I think that's what people are crying out for across the country.
So are you saying now Labour is the party of law and order?
Yes, Labour is the party of law and order. I myself was Director of Public Prosecutions before I became leader of the Labour Party, and so I spent 5 years across the country, here in Burnley and other places, working with the police and communities to prosecute all criminal offences. So we are very much the party of law and order, and that's because we understand the impact that crime has on the lives of so many people across the country.
Can I get your comment, please, on the announcement today from the government that the social care workforce funding is to be halved?
I think this is a betrayal from the government of older people and those with needs in social care. They promised a lot and now they're delivering almost nothing. I've always suspected they didn't have a plan, and this is more evidence they don't have a plan. And if that wasn't bad enough on its own, this has a huge impact on the backlog in the NHS, because without social care working, it's impossible to get people out of hospital as quickly as we would like, and therefore you have even more prospect of ambulances queuing up, people not being able to get into hospitals. So this is a betrayal on so many fronts from the government. We need to get to grips with the vacancies and the workforce, and that's why we, Labour, have argued for a national workforce plan that would actually allow people to come in, to be retained and have national standards and national pay agreements. That's the sort of action we need. All we've got from the government is a betrayal today.
You mentioned it earlier when you were talking to some of the students. The Conservative grandee, the former Chancellor Nigel Lawson, has passed away. Do you have any thoughts on that? Anything you'd say on that?
Well, Nigel Lawson was a real powerhouse, and it was possible, quite rightly, for people to disagree profoundly with what he said, but have a huge respect for him. And I think you've seen an outpouring of that respect across the political parties today, and I think that is truly fitting of Nigel Lawson.